Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the UC Bowl for the next round of the Celtic Challenge. This afternoon's match is the Brython Thunder from Wales playing Wolfhounds. Kickoff due at 1:30, so just under 20 minutes time. We'll read the team sheets in just a few moments time, but to explain a little of the Celtic Challenge, it's the first ever women's domestic cross-border competition. 6 teams compete over 10 rounds, with the team holding the highest table standing at the end of the season being crowned. Trying to develop and inspire world-class performance through elite competition. It's the highest form of domestic rugby across the 3 nations and acts as a pathway for current and indeed future international talent. The league takes place across Wales, Scotland and Ireland, with 2 teams playing from each nation. The league will run from December 24 until March 25. The team playing 10 games, 5 at home and 5 on the road. Following the successful final season a few years ago in 2022, subsequent seasons have seen impressive growth with over 68 players from the Celtic Challenge to go on and feature in the Guinness Women's Six Nations. And the league has seen great growth off the field with increased attendances and broadcast partnerships with BBC Scotland, BBC Wales and Rugby TV, which drives visibility around the world and brings new fans to the game. So let's have a look at our team sheets this afternoon, beginning with our visitors from Brython Thunder. At loose head prop, number 1, Lowry Williams. At hooker, number 2, Pete Gill. The tight head prop is number 3, Casey Carr. In the engine room, number 4 is Robin Davies, tacking down alongside the captain for Brython Thunder this afternoon, number 5, Natalia John. In the back row, line-side flanker number 6, Cindy Jones, open-side flanker number 7, Lucy Isaac, and number 8, Jessica Robbins. Into the back line, the scrum half number 9 is Sarah Singleton, and number 10, Hannah Marshall. Inside centre at 12 is Gabby Egan, and outside centre at 13, Ellie Tremant. On the left wing, wearing 11, is Eleanor Hing, and the right wing, number 14, Hannah May. Fullback, number 15, Ian Terry. Replacing today from Brython Thunder, number 16, Poppy Good, 17, Stella Orrick, 18, Elan Jones, 19, Ciara Philpott, 20, Anna Stowe, 21, Fail Davies, and 22, Rhiannon Griffith. 23 is the final replacement for Brython Thunder, number 23, Amy Williams. So have a look at the host team from Wolfhounds. The loose head prop number 1, Neil O'Dowd. The hooker number 2, Maeve Flanagan. And tight head prop number 3, Christy Haney. Number 4 is Loch Almahatgan, and number 5 is Cleeman Cockaward.
5,500.
Line-side flanker is number 6, and captain today at Wolfhounds is Claire Bowles. Open-side flanker number 7, Erin King, and number 8, Eva Wafer. inside centre will wear 12 is Edie Higgins, outside centre number 13, Ethan Dawson. Wearing 11 on the left wing is Ella Roberts, number 14 on the right wing is Anna Doyle, and 15 the fullback, Stacey Flood. Replacements for Wolfhounds today, 16 Kelly Burke, 17 Eva Malloy, 18 Sophie McAllister. 19 is Whitney Hogan, 20 Poppy Garvey, 21 Molly Boyd, 22 Leah Charlie, and number 23 Rachel McElroy. Our referee this afternoon is Ashley Quinn. Our two assistant referees are Kevin Beattie and Mark Arnold. It's the next round of the Celtic Challenge here at the UCD Bowl. It's Wolfhounds versus Brython Thunder. Kickoff at 1:30.
You are very welcome to the Belfield Bowl in UCD for today's Celtic Challenge clash between the Wolfhounds and Brython Thunder. Last week was a runaway win for the team at home today over in Wales, and perhaps a humbling lesson for the Brython team, who have, by their own coach's admission, a long way to go. Young players still earning their trade. For the Wolfhounds team, plenty of seasoned internationals, with the return of Aoife Wafer into the back row for them. It'll be a massive clash and a chance for some of these players to stretch their legs. It'll be a huge challenge for the Brython Thunder team to recover from what was last week. But for the Wolfhounds team, they can only see another win on the horizon. It'll have to be 5 points for the team in white and blue today, in a very sunny, warm winter's day and a cracking game of rugby. It will be the Wolfhounds against Brython Thunder. I'm joined in co-commentary for today's clash between the Irish Wolfhounds and the Brython Thunder by Leinster second row Emer Corrie. Emer, some changes to the Irish Wolfhounds side. What do you think they're going to add to the game?
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Good different lineup today. Some big names as well. Christy Haney, obviously Irish international front row. Aoife Wafer, 2024 Dream Team World Rugby nominee and award winner, coming back in at number 8. So she's undoubtedly going to, bring some big carries, big collisions, really put a stamp on this return game for her. And great to see Anna Doyle as well back on the wing. She was previously in with the Irish Sevens team, so she's got great pace, great step on her as well. So, the Wolfhounds like to do that expansive game, so it'd be great to see her getting some runs up the sideline as well if they can.
Is it bad news for Brython Thunder? I mean, it was such a big win for the Wolfhounds last week. Now you're adding in quality of the players the Wolfhounds have added. Is it going to be a long day at the office for the Welsh side?
I don't know. I mean, obviously listening to head coach comments this morning, they aren't disillusional in that their Wolfhounds will score. The Wolfhounds are a well-drilled team. But there were some very positive things for Brython Thunder last week. They made some great line breaks. We had Hannah Bluck really finding that gaps in the Wolfhounds defence. Now, unfortunately, she's ruled out through injury, which is not great news for them again. But I thought Hannah Marshall did great when she came on last weekend. really injected some pace into it. She has great variation in her game, good kicking, she put some chips over the top and really put the Wolfhound back 3 under pressure. So to see her come in at 10 is exciting, and that could really, change up their game as well.
For the Wolfhounds, a good day at the office has got to be 5 points. What's a good day at the office for Brython in a game like this?
I think a good day for them would be if they could rectify some of the errors from last week. I do think they were overly kind of generous to the Wolfhounds. Their line speed wasn't great, didn't really pressure the Wolfhounds defence, let them get out wide quite easily. So if they could be a bit more connected in defence and put pressure those skills, that would be a positive. Also, I think if they could put together some phases, I think their handling let them down a bit and their execution last week. So to see them put together some good quality phases and put the Wolfhounds under pressure, for me, would be some positives they'd be looking for.
We did speak to the head coaches just a little while ago. Here's what they had to say. Neil, a huge result last week and a cracking win. Was there any issues this week in terms of motivating players for a return leg?
No, not this week. We just want to make sure we keep consistency through the team, so we're looking forward to getting after today.
Brython, a potential for them to have a resurgence here. They're going to want to get some revenge. Is that something that's concerned for the players or for you?
Not concerned. We just know what we're going to expect. We just need to make sure that we stick to our kind of game plan, and we know they're going to come back and they're going to come back firing.
Addition of Aoife Wafer into the squad, that's obviously a massive boost for the team. How does that feel amongst the squad and the players?
Well, no, it's brilliant. She's been training the past couple of weeks and she brings loads of leadership and drive within the team, so it's great to finally see her, and I feel like Brittany and a few other ones out as well for game time today.
The 3 changes that were made, is that tactical? Is that just about getting numbers and playing time into players?
It's probably a little bit of a number of different things. So we're obviously giving people opportunities, but also just looking at, it's a 10-game series, so we're just making sure people are ready to go.
Is there a possibility with only one game this weekend and you're the only 2 teams playing, that this gets into the heads of the Clovers maybe, or the other teams that are playing?
We just focus on ourselves really this week. So the big thing for us is we just need to turn up, play our game, hopefully push on, get the win, and we just go rebuild again.
Smash and go well today. Thanks
very
very
much. Cheers.
Actually, a tough game last week over in Wales. How hard was it motivating the players for this return leg?
Yeah, you lose by that much. We got such a young group who are coming through. We got 18, 19-year-old girls who are probably having their first taste of senior rugby, and you're coming up against a lot of Irish internationals who finished second in WXV. You put in a bit more realistic on what was going on the field and where we can learn to get these girls better going into pathway stuff, or even into this week to show a better picture of themselves.
Does that kind of thing build character into players? Is there lessons to be learned out of a game like last week?
Yeah, you can look at Wolfhounds and take a lot of learnings out of them and what they're doing different and what they're doing really well, which some of our girls might not have been coached through their time, and how hard the Wolfhounds backs work together, the forwards and their carrying game. It's stuff which probably isn't pushed as much as it should be, and for our girls it's looking at it and going, actually, did we give them a little bit too much respect in that first half, because the second half was a bit of a difference between it.
And what would be the big lessons that were focused on, or were there big specific lessons focused on during the week in the build up to this?
Just kind of our error count. Wolfhounds got a very strong game and how they play it. They kick a lot, but if we're feeding them errors, we're giving a good team better chances without them having to work hard. So this week was about controlling what we could control, not making it too easy for them, and we are going to come under pressure and they are going to score points. We're not disillusioned by that, so it's about them enjoying the moment, coming to Ireland. Some of them would experience that for the first time and just putting their best self forward.
Smashing, thank you very much and good luck. Go well today.
Thank you very much.
It's not a grim assessment of what the Brython Thunder team are facing today in this clash against the Wolfhounds, but you'd call it a realistic assessment in this rearranged fixture, Emer?
Yeah, I think, it just goes to show that they have done their homework, and they are realistic about it, exactly as you said. The Wolfhounds are well drilled and they do have an awful lot of international experience. But, it's important that Brython know that they can reach that level and that they show their best selves today. And I think there was a lot of positives from their side of the game last week as well. Against a good Wolfhound defence, they had some great line breaks, some supporting lines that unfortunately they just didn't get to see the points on the board for it, but it definitely positives that they can manipulate and find gaps in this defence. And I also thought scrum wise as well, their pack really stood up to the Wolfhound pack. A 92% success rate from the Brython side, and I suppose that just gives them a great launch pad that they can be confident that they can play off that. So yeah, definitely positives, and if they improve on those areas and continue to pressure the Wolfhounds defence and find those gaps, I don't see why they wouldn't hopefully be able to put some points on the board today.
Today's match has been rescheduled. The first game of this round 5 in the Celtic Challenge was to be played next week, but due to logistical issues will be played here today. What a game we're set to have. Sun beaming down on the pitch in the UCD Bowl. And what can we expect, Emer, from both of these sides today? I mean, starting with the Wolfhounds, this is a really high quality team. It's a team packed with superstars. Presumably we're looking for 10 out of 10 performances across the pitch.
Absolutely, yeah. I think they will want to build on the strong attack that they had last week. Obviously there are kind of a few new bodies across the park, but primarily the backs. I think they really worked well together last weekend. They managed to get the ball out wide and threaten different areas. Seeing them warming up, you can see there's a lot of kind of overs and unders lines, which is very difficult from the Brython Thunder side to defend. So I imagine we'll see kind of continuation of those interplays between the backs, hopefully managing to get it into the hands of the wingers out wide, and just a continuation of that threatening attack, really.
It has been a tough campaign thus far for Brython Thunder. They sit right rooted to the bottom alongside the Glasgow Warriors. Are 2 points available from the games that they've played thus far. It's the Wolfhounds and the Clovers who blaze the trail, the two Irish sides, after a hefty win, adding to the points difference for the Wolfhound side. 48 points to 0 last week. If we take a look at the teams, starting with the Irish Wolfhound side, who have seen a number of changes from last week. Very interesting, exciting changes to boot. Niamh O'Dowd, Maeve Clenaghan and Christy Haney, one of the big changes in the front row. Alma Atagaman, Cleona Ní Concobar, Claire Bowles, Erin King and Aoife Wafer. Aoife Wafer making their way back into this squad at number 8. Jade Gaffney and Den O'Brien are at 9 and 10. The centre partnership is Eve Higgins and Aoife Dalton, and the wingers Ella Roberts, Anna Doyle and Stacey Flood, with a 6-2 split on the bench. It's a profoundly strong team, Emer.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very excited to see Aoife Wafer coming back, also the likes of Christy Haney. But also I think Alma Atagaman in the second row has really, grown into herself across the competition. We've seen some great carries last weekend. She's also gotten over the try line as well. So yeah, definitely a strong pack. So there'll be some big performances today.
For Brython Thunder, hoping to bounce back and prevent a repeat of last week, building on that, as their coach Ashley Beck talked to us before the game. It's Lowry Williams and Katie Carr in the front row, either side of Evie Gill. Robin Davies and Natalia John, the captain, in the second row. Finlay Jones, Lucy Isaac and Jessica Rogers are the back row. Siren Singleton and Hannah Marshall are the 9 and 10 combo. That's a fun combo to watch, and they'll be looking to turn this game around for the Brython team. On the wings, it's Eleanor Hing and Hannah Lane, with Niamh Terry at fullback, and the centre pairing is Gabby Heelan and Ellie Trummans. What do Brython really need to do to control this game? Is there a way of marshalling this Wolfhound side?
I think there's kind of two main areas. Defensively, they need to pressure the Wolfhounds team. We've seen kind of in the second half last weekend, the Wolfhounds started to have some handling errors come in, some things that are just unusual for the calibre of players that they have. So defensively, if Brython can get up in their faces and pressure them, I think they'll get some opportunities from some forced errors. Attack-wise, I think they got some great traction off and line breaks off kind of some inside balls and those overs and unders. So I think if we can see the likes of the back three coming into that line and just making the Wolfhounds defence question themselves and question what players they have, they'll find some gaps and hopefully be able to play off that then.
For the Wolfhound side, the addition of Christy Haney is certainly exciting in the front row, but it's Aoife Wafer at number 8 would send shivers down the spine of any team defending against the carries from that particular player. You're excited to see her today?
Yeah, definitely. She's been unlucky with injuries across the season. But just the calibre player that she is, no doubt Brython would have identified that she's coming back. I think it's important for them that they try just shut her down. You know, Aoife is not an easy player to tackle at all, especially if she gets any bit of momentum behind her as well. She's got a very strong fend as well. So particularly from a scrum, Brython will need to be conscious of her. They'll need to really, you know, be sure that their back row can break off early and shut her down. But no doubt we'll see Aoife Wafer really showing us she's coming back today.
I mean, this is the kind of player who a team really does have to organise around. You don't just get to play your own game of rugby. You must structure your defence in order to compensate for a player. That's massive to have in any team.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's the benefit of Aoife Wafer to the Wolfhounds. You know, from a defensive point of view, not only do they have to focus on Aoife as a player and the threat that she poses, but the fact that other players on the Wolfhounds team will be arranging themselves off Aoife and be put into gaps through Aoife. You know, it's a very difficult challenge for Brython to try defend. They can't just stick on Aoife. Their defence has to compress around her so that no Wolfhound players will be able to flood through gaps, and it just means that even if Aoife doesn't give a tips option or doesn't carry herself, there's going to be gaps then out wide for the Wolfhounds, which they've shown throughout this competition they can exploit.
That centre pairing of Eve Higgins and Aoife Dalton is absolutely made to exploit gaps in a team, narrowing to defend against big carries. That's what the Wolfhounds have. We've seen Brython Thunder make their way onto the pitch. Wolfhounds now making their way out to applause from the home crowd. That's what they have. It's threats all over the park. They've gone for a 6-2 split on the bench with just Leah Tarpey and Rachel McElroy as the back options. As a tactical decision, is that built around the idea that you're softening up Brython and then springing this big carrying forwards to finish the job?
I think it's probably partially that, but also we've seen other players in the backs be able to dual cover. We saw Stacey Flood come in at 10 in the second half last weekend and did an absolutely cracker job. She showed the kicks she has, she showed her distribution skills, and had a lovely 2v1 getting Katie Heffernan over the line. So I think it's also a case that they have players that just can cover across the park.
Our referee today is Oisin Quinn, getting his last orders, and the kickoff is dropping from the Brython to the edge of the Wolfhounds 22, and that's a big returning kick, and possibly the first error of the game. It's collected in the backfield.
Retreat.
Niamh Terry, return kick. These teams feeling each other out to start with, and the kick aimed at the far touchline is their kick chase on as it bounces and skitters and heads into touch, and we'll see our first set piece of the game. It's a kind of a nervy start from both, just kicking and feeling each other out.
Yeah, that's always to be expected though. You know, the teams will want to put their stamp on the game and control it from the beginning. So, you know, to get that bit of territory for the Wolfhounds after a Brython kickoff is great, and we'll just see them come into their defence now.
Evie Gill will have the first line out of the game for Brython, far side of the pitch from our commentary position, and almost stolen in the air, but eventually through the hands it goes, and Brython starting to carry off. Gabby Heelan on the carry. Singleton passing back inside. Heelan again on the carry.
Push back.
Sarah Singleton spins it out the back, and Brython look to move the ball through the midfield, and it's hands and a lovely step back inside. Wolfhounds defenders rushing up to close the door. Still Brython retain their own possession. Going through some phases now. Sarah Singleton to Marshall, and that one's been knocked on, and it's collected really well in midfield, and suddenly the Wolfhounds have possession inside the Brython half, and they love to move it wide as soon as they can, and there are numbers outside. The pop-up is for Ella Robertson. Roberts looking to get down the side, can't. Brought down. Brython having to number up and start to defend here as the Wolfhounds going through the numbers. Jade Gaffney with the pop-up. Available and playing, and now it's going to be the forwards carrying heavy and tight, and there's an advantage coming. Oisin Quinn was looking at that one. He just saw the red jersey lying in on top of that ball. Referee, and it's knocked forward in the contact, but the advantage was there, a red jersey not rolling away and inside the red zone, and that's the first penalty of the game as Brython struggled to deal with the pace of that Wolfhounds ruck. Quick ball all the time, and Jade Gaffney was in the mood to get her hands on it. we will see the first scrum of the game. And this a test for Christy Haney coming back in, but it's a very young front row for Brython Thunder with Lowry Williams, Evie Gill, Katie Carr. And an opportunity here for the Wolfhounds, Emer.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting that they chose to go for the scrum. I think it just shows the confidence that they have in that pack. And I wonder here, is there going to be a bit of a trick play or something with Aoife Wafer coming back in at 8? Just a shame that the discipline from Britain let them down, and I think hopefully they can get on top of that, because, you know, as we alluded to in the pre-match commentary, this isn't a Wolfhounds team that you want to give more opportunity to through real discipline.
Gaffney feeds. The drive is pretty good and eventually popped out Gaffney, and it is a trick play, and it comes back in onto this side and a step back inside, and this is going to be the first score of the game, and it is Aoife Dalton who has managed to get it over the line and touch it down. They went one way, dummied and came back, and there was absolutely no chance for Brython to come over and back on time to protect themselves, and the Wolfhounds have the start that they want. Wafer with the pop-up, swing back inside from Singleton, and Aoife Dalton sees the soft shoulder and steps back inside of Hannah Lane, and that really was just all too easy for the home side. Score for Aoife Dalton. Difficult kick for Dana O'Brien, all the way out. Pressure coming on, gets a good clean strike and splits the post. A superb kick from Dana O'Brien to take the score to 7-0. And if you're Neil Acorn, that's the kind of start that you wanted here.
Yeah, I think what impressed me the most was just how organised the Wolfhounds were. You know, there was that handling error from Brython Thunder, and almost instantly within 2-3 passes we were out in the edge play by the Wolfhounds, and that's ultimately what led to that try.
Hannah Marshall kicks it off, aims it at Aoife Dalton, and it's been knocked on. That's unfortunate from the try scorer.
Yeah, I think she'll be a bit disappointed by that. She has kind of high standards for herself.
So we will see a scrum. Pretty even Stevens in that first scrum. No, neither of the packs really showing any dominance. As the game goes on, you'd expect that one side will show a wealth of experience. The feed will be from Saren Singleton. Middle of the park, opportunity now for Brython to see what they can do, and there's the big shove from the Wolfhounds. Brython going backwards, but they do collect their own possession, and into midfield, little step from Marshall looking to get around the outside. That's a blue and white wave, and there's not releasing on the ground, says the referee. Anna Marshall is going to kick this one to touch, and we will see if the Brython Thunder set piece is what they need it to be. And those are 2 errors. We saw 2 from Brython, concede 7 points. That's 2 from the Wolfhounds. As you say, Emer, they'll be a little disappointed with that.
Yeah, I thought it was actually interesting from that last scrum that Britain didn't have anyone here on this blind side. If they had split, it would have meant that the Wolfhounds defence would have had to split as well, but they're just allowing the Wolfhounds to stack one side and put more pressure on them, so I wonder if that's something that they'll change as the game progresses. But this is a great drive from this line out.
Natalia John, the Wales international, took that one off the top, and it was a huge shove, and the referee says there's Wolfhounds players in underneath that, collapsing it, and the second penalty in a row goes to the Welsh outfit. And there's absolutely no debate about it. Hannah Marshall puts this one straight into touch.
You're on the leg, and then
the Wolfhounds will have to be careful defensive wise, and it was even something that we noted last weekend. For a well drilled squad, if you don't have to rely on your defence as much, if your attack's doing all the work, you can kind of brush those things aside. But coming up against better teams, you're given territory or you're given possession through purely just your own ill discipline.
This time the target is Robin Davies, but the maul result is the same, and Brython start to move this one. It turns, eventually picked out of the back and spun into Gabby Heelan, and Heelan on the carry, getting some help from Lucy Isaac. It goes to ground. Is it playable is the question, and the referee says no, it's not, and the Wolfhounds get the turnover, and that's much better defence. And it looks as though Dana O'Brien got herself involved in that maul to stop that ball coming back.
Yeah, it did appear that it was, the Wolfhounds knew what was coming. They've clearly done their analysis on what Brython like to do in this area off a line-out such as that. Because you can see Dana, Alma immediately in there, Eve Higgins doing great work as well. Brython carrying in too high, I think that just allowed Eve to get her hands under the ball. But yeah, great defensive work from the Wolfhounds there and getting the ball back.
And so the feed will be for Jade Gaffney. Young, exciting scrum half. Wolfhounds had the advantage in the last one, and the referee says we'll reset it.
Can we take a few steps over?
As we so often see in top level rugby, referee is going to go for the reset.
See them moving there. I wonder, is the ground a bit soft just under the girls' feet? We've kind of moved a bit closer to the touchline.
I won't ask about the dark arts of scrummaging. I just don't know enough about that.
Get the bind up, please, one red.
Feel free to chip in, although something tells me that's state secret stuff.
I won't give away too much.
Bind! Set!
Gaffney, ball in hand, no sign of it. There's a big shove from Brython, but the Wolfhounds take it out the back, and Wafer's on the rampage and tearing up the pitch. Wafer away from everyone, eventually hauled down, and the path back inside is a superb one, and it looks as though they're going to go from end to end, slip back inside on the far, and suddenly all the way up the length of the pitch, and it's going to be a score for Anna Doyle out of absolutely nothing, one end of the pitch to the other. Absolutely sensational rugby from the Wolfhounds, who will attack from absolutely anywhere.
Yeah, brilliant work. I think just testament to Aoife Wafer, and she did textbook what we had just spoken about. Aoife, she's such great awareness that the support runners off her. Wolfhounds have clearly the other players. They know what Aoife's going to do. They work off her shoulder. Aoife has great awareness that Eve is on her inside, Anna Doyle's on her outside, gets the offload away, and then great work from Eve Higgins.
It's a superb little show and go in the build up to it too. Aoife Wafer is not just tanking it up. There was a little dummy pass before eventually feeding Eve Higgins, and Higgins feeds Anna Doyle. The pace of all the players involved in that is sensational. Difficult kick again for Dana O'Brien. Puts the boot on it. And once again, splits the post, 100% from the tee. Just 10 minutes into this game, the Wolfhounds 14-0 up. We talked about it before the game, Emer. We said it might be a long day at the office for Brython Thunder, and it's shaping up that way.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, kind of only 10 minutes into the game. Brython had done so well, kind of getting some territory, getting a line out, a good shove from the maul as well. It's just kind of the little things I feel are letting them down, carrying in too high into the contact zones. If they could, improve on those areas and just retain the ball, that they could develop some phases, it'd be great to see just them getting more hands on the ball and getting out a bit wider just to attack this Wolfhounds team.
Lovely little dink over the top for Dewey Walton to chase. And Dalton really well collecting that one. Suddenly the Wolfhounds are attacking again. Variety in their play, the ability to move that ball, kick the ball, receive their own kicks, and suddenly lovely step back inside. Dalton is absolutely tearing it up. Brython struggling to cope with the centre. Gaffney into midfield. Again, another big carry. Blue and white jerseys lining up, but that one, well, it's well defended. First time of asking.
On the ball before rock.
Wolfhounds will be a little bit disappointed when they've been building such momentum. Good defensive work from Brython. The kick, finding the safety of touch from Hannah Marshall.
Yeah, great turnover there by Lucy Isaac of Brython Thunder. And it's definitely something the Wolfhounds are going to have to be aware of. It's one thing, being able to trust your attack, but if you're not resourcing your breakdown and holding on to your ball, then it's going to be difficult for them.
Katie Carr gives the orders to Evie Gill. Gill to the tail, taken off the top, and suddenly the carry is on. Into midfield they go. Heelan to Marshall. Marshall throwing a long one out, and it's awkward and it's bouncing. And is it going to make touch? And the referee says it's gone forward, and it did look that way. And Marshall, well, there's that blitz defence the Wolfhounds have, and Hannah Marshall thought maybe there might be a little bit of space outside, but the pass not executed very accurately.
Apologies,
And
yeah,
so
I'll try
we
to get
will
out of the
see
way. I'll try to stay tighter.
the first scrum.
1 second. 3 seconds in.
Square up the shoulders, binds up. Crouch!
Ella Roberts is standing out here on the left wing, so
Bind!
you know, good opportunity for the Wolfhounds if they can
Set!
get it out through hands. Stacey Flood stacking in behind Dan O'Brien as well.
Okay, we're going
We've
to
seen
set that gap. We have
what
to
the
maintain it
Wolfhounds
when
could
we
do
hit
with
it.
an attacking scrum from
We
their
close
own
it, we'll set
line.
it, it's hit and hold.
So yeah,
So
would be ideal.
a threat from absolutely anywhere on the pitch. Ella
Se-
Roberts,
Listen, we
Hannah
set the
Doyle on
gap.
the wings if they
We
can
were
move
happy
that
there
ball out.
with 3-4 scrums, no issue.
Hannah Lane
Let's just
has
take
her
this
work
to
cut
hit
out
and
for
hold.
trying
We're
to
not
defend
resetting
that.
again.
1
Christy Haney,
3
Niamh O'Dowd, either side of Maeve Clanahan.
seconds in. Go. Get your shoulder on me, Emma.
They've had a bit of an edge in this scrum so far.
Bind!
It's Jay Gaffney, ball in hand, goes to feed. That's a big shove from Brython Thunder, and Wafer pops it up and gives it to Gaffney, and Gaffney outside, and the kick is probing, testing, and gone straight into touch, and that's just very unfortunate from Dane O'Brien, just a smidge too far.
Yeah, I think she was aware that it had to bounce, but it was just a little bit overcooked, unfortunately.
She's been immaculate from the tee, and the first little kick over the top was superb for Aoife Dalton to collect, but that one just
Yeah, here's your marker.
a tiny bit too far.
That's the thing with this Wolfhound squad. They have such variation in their attack that it's just so hard for the opposition teams to know what's the most effective way to defend them.
Feed off the top and into midfield, and it's Heelan on the break and looked for just a second as though she'd gotten the better of Atacama. And now big carry
Tackler's roll!
from Natalia John. She's on the deck. Marshall, little fake, and Lane, who's come in off her wing to act as a centre. The ball looks to have been just about retained.
12
That
roll!
carry from Robin Davies.
No, it's not out.
Referee urging the Wolfhounds back, and it's a big carry from Evie Gill. Marshall looking behind, and the pass just seeming to catch Eleanor Hing flat-footed a little bit, and Brython have gone backwards, and the Wolfhounds will be delighted. Hannah Marshall says we're overplaying that, let's put that one behind this defence. Dribbles it into touch, and well, it's smart tactical playing from any 10 who decides you've overplayed this one and it's time to get some territory.
It is, yeah, but I don't know how much territory they've actually gained. I think the line-out is in a very similar position to the previous set piece. Nice to see Britain kind of get some phases together. I think just they're putting a lot of bodies into the breakdown, and the Wolfhounds actually aren't committing at all, which just means that they're down numbers to begin with.
Aaron King takes it off the top for the Wolfhounds. The referee says there was a knock on, and I missed that one. Didn't see it myself. Positional switch for Aaron King today.
5's your mark.
It's not going to affect her game in any significant way, would you think?
No, I think with her pace and power, she'll just do what Aaron King does no matter what the number on her back is.
So, an attacking scrum for Brython for a change.
If you start this out, I can come out.
Saren Singleton.
Crouch!
Seen Brython getting a bit of a shove on in the last couple of scrums, and they'll hope to build from that. Jessica Rogers has been carrying off the back every time, but the first infringement, a pull down on the far side, and that is get out of jail for free for the Wolfhounds, and an opportunity to build an attacking platform. And that's a good touch finder.
If you're going to go that long, you have
Difficult
to
angle
get your feet on
making
the-
those kind of kicks.
Yeah,
Left-footed kicker and tight to the left touchline.
Step.
Yeah, but I guess they've got out of jail free there, as you said, so the Wolfhounds won't mind, they'll just restart and go again.
King takes it off the top, and Wafer collects a Natagama and back into the hands of Aoife Wafer, and she's on the deck, and this ball is slow coming back for Gaffney, but eventually does come back, and Niamh O'Dowd, huge carry. Ball is on the deck and playable.
No hands.
Gaffney, Wolfhounds have numbers here if they can move it, and that's a huge hit, and it's indeed an illegal hit.
Listen,
And there's going to be a bit of a chat here.
there's a stage of direction there, but you've made...
Natalia John really rushed into that one, and it was not one bit appreciated. And we don't have the benefit of a TMO here, but that one looked... Well, that was a real high and heavy hit from Natalia John. She's lucky that there wasn't a card produced.
Yeah, she had a good bit of pace behind her as well, but good to see that Eve Higgins is okay.
Eve Higgins has regained her feet as Dane O'Brien kicks for touch, but she did not look one bit happy about that hit. There's a little bit of spice being added to this game.
Mix your 10 now, mix your 10.
Clenahan
Hold.
into the middle, and Aoife Wafer picks and goes and shows and pops it up back inside, and it's Aaron King
Get advantage.
just about hauled down into midfield.
Away,
Haney
tackle.
readjusts, and onto the deck she goes. Awkward ball for Gaffney to get her hands on, but does. Atagama on the carry. 3 players required to stop the second row.
Advantage, Blue.
Gaffney heading out the back, and it's swung wide. Anna Doyle has it, and it's slowed down just a little bit for the Wolfhounds here. King on the carry again. And this is building to something. You just feel that there's something on the way here again. 2 players required. Rogers doing all the work to stop Atagama. Back through hands. Claire Bowles onto the deck. Haney picks it and goes. And that'll keep a defence honest. Gaffney. First out carrier is Wafer. 3 players required to stop the number 8. Advantage coming. And that,
Number 1, not rolling.
I think it was Ellie Trommins who was just too slow getting out.
If you have
This
advantage,
one's
come
straight
back
in front of the
there, or you can
sticks.
have this one.
Taking the 3 here, Emer, or
Penalty here or back. Okay.
I think the Wolfhounds are comfortable.
Go for
They're comfortable
scrum.
going through their phases. No, they've
Number
opted
one,
for the
not
scrum.
rolling.
They're confident in their pack. They're confident
Back
in their
down at the line
moves.
out.
They're
Go
confident
early,
that they
you've
can
an
attack
advantage
anywhere
flat.
in the backs as well. So I'm not
Just
one bit
hold.
surprised they opted for the scrum.
I'm just a conservative old man who likes seeing the 3.
At the end of the day, we have to remember it's Wolfhounds and Clovers at the top of the table. They've had 2 flip-flop fixtures, Wolfhounds winning in round 1 and then the Clovers coming back in round 2 in the bowl as well, actually. So it could ultimately come down to a points difference. So the Wolfhounds clearly want to get the biggest points for as they can to solidify their top spot on the leaderboard at the moment. So yeah, not surprised they're possibly trying to go for the 7 here rather than the 3 then.
For Wafer, you can just tell is about to pick this one from the back. And she does, popping it out to Gaffney, and Gaffney finds Dutton, and it's through the hands of Flood into Doyle, and Doyle breaking out of 2 tackles and bursting over the line, and it really did look as though Brython had managed to cover her, and instead she wriggles her way free from the tackle, and Anna Doyle gets her 2nd score of the game, and that's quite a return to the starting team for the winger.
Yeah, I'm delighted for her. She's had such an unfortunate time with injuries, particularly to her shoulder as well, ruling her out of interprovincial series as well. So great to see her back in the park and scoring some tries.
Oh, there were blue and white jerseys queuing up. Dane O'Brien won't thank her for where it was finished. It's going to be a real difficult kick from all the way out on the touchline, but the tries count. And 19-0. It's a real mountain for Brython Thunder to climb.
Again, coming from ill discipline, I think they really need to work on that. They just can't give this Wolfhound side any opportunities or a chance to ultimately choose how they want to score their try.
Brian gets the kick. It is just going to drop short. The accuracy was there, just did not have the distance, dropping just in front of the posts. But that was, well, inches in it. There was 2 tackles that Anna Doyle broke out of to get over the line, and 1 attempted foot trip, I think, from Hannah Marshall, who will now restart this game. 19-0. As Marshall kicks it off, bounces, awkward, really well collected from Nicrohur. Ball is out and awkwardly and just about controlled, and Adagama through the hands. And out the wing it goes again. Plenty of options. Dalton doing the work.
Knocked on,
The flood. Ball knocked on the ground. Looked to be knocked on, but Brython have it. And they're looking to pick and go from this one. Lucy Isaacs and into midfield. Big carry from Lowry Williams. And the
You're
referee
legal, but with no advantage.
is coming back for a knock on. And it looked
Lost
to me
forward,
as though it had
no
been
advantage.
knocked on by Brython, but
I think it was actually possibly Jade Gaffney. I think Brython just put a bit of pressure in that breakdown and got the knock on. It's just great to see that still, 19-0 down, they still have that intent. And as we spoke about before the game, if they can put that pressure on the Wolfhounds, those errors will come, and it will just give them an opportunity to play the ball in their own terms.
well, Lowry Williams and Katie Carr have their work cut out for them. Carr in particular coming up against Christy Haney,
Crouch!
or Neva Dodd, excuse me.
Bind! Set!
Singleton with the feed. Jessica Rogers picks off to Singleton and into midfield, and Marshall is popping it out. It's awkward and irregular. Singleton has her hands back on it again, looking to step through. Gets the knees on the ground
Hold, back feet.
and picks it and released the ball and goes again, and that's tries to do it for the second time. Almost leaves the ball behind her. Rogers, the back row, having to play scrum half. That carry from Natalia John. And Singleton back to scrum half. Marshall on the inside pass, and that's really good, and Isaacs has her hands on it. Ball is on the deck. Good contest on the ground. It's superb work.
She's on the first one in the rock.
Outstanding from Cliona Nicrohur. A really good defensive set from the second row.
There's your mark there.
You thought for just a moment Brython was starting to build something.
Yeah, a bit of excitement there. I think unfortunately they're just not resourcing their breakdown enough, which has been a bit of a recurrent theme for them. This Wolfhounds team love to get their hands in, love to make a messy breakdown, and are very good at getting turnovers. So it's a key area that Britain need to work on. They need to ensure they're putting bodies in and securing their own ball, because the Wolfhounds will go after it.
Flanagan with the feed goes to the middle, and it's just about taken off the top from Nicrohur under pressure. Through the hands, the Wolfhounds go. Brython comes sprinting up, but they can't make the tackle stick, and suddenly the Wolfhounds are on the rampage again, and it's Wafer on the carry, sitting defenders down, staying on her feet, bursting up to the 10-metre line. Huge carry from the number 8. Gaffney wants this one quick. It's slow coming back though. Brython look organised. Adagama
Tackle roll!
to the deck she goes, and into midfield, and Dane O'Brien looking for the second layer of attack, and it's backwards and awkward, and the ball is playable, and Ella Roberts has to get her hands on it and does, and Natalia John makes the tackle, and it looks as though Evie Gills managed to get hands on it, doesn't, just about shoved off it. Carry from Christy Haney.
Nothing
Gaffney spies a gap and shoots through it. There was nobody on the pillars. Gaffney looking to step outside the defender and knocks it forward. So unfortunate. Niamh Terry's done really well to get up and make the tackle, and Gaffney knocks it on. Well, it was a superb snipe from the number 9, doing as number 9s do. Gets the pat on the back from Eve Higgins for her efforts. Just so unfortunate to leave that one behind.
Yeah, great work by Jade. She's a clever player, coming up through the pathway as well, being involved with the Irish under-20 squad, and she would always be looking for that, so great to see her get a bit of a break. Just unfortunate, I think she was trying to get a bit of a wraparound pass there for Nevo Dowd coming on the support line, but just unfortunately the hand got caught and the ball went forward there.
One would have to admire the pace of Niamh O'Dowd also in the support line. It's a prop forward, cutting all that space down.
Bind!
So Brython, having had possession at the Wolfhounds 22, now back defending in their own 22 and going backwards in the scrum. And taken out by Rogers in a step back inside, and good yards made by Brython for the first time. Saren Singleton finds Hannah Marshall. Marshall under pressure, good attempted block down, gets the kick away, and Stacey Flood has to collect and does at the 10, looking for her options. Pop back inside. Doyle, big hit, goes to ground. Gaffney has it, and Wolfhounds have the options on this side rather than the far side. Gaffney will want to use that. In fact, they have numbers out here, and Dana O'Brien sees the gap behind, but Hannah Marshall collects at the edge of the 22. That's good covering back from the Brython 10.
Great take by Hannah Marshall there. I think she's done really well in this game. Again, showing her variation in kicks and just organising their pack across the pitch.
Kicks it straight at her opposite number and into midfield, and the Wolfhounds stretching this Brython team already with 2 passes, and out to the wing it goes, and just about staying in field. Evie Higgins. Ball is playable, and that's a big, huge ruck from Brython, and the referee says it's illegal. Players in over the top.
Just the small things letting them down again. Great defensive effort there. Even the phases beforehand, we saw some huge hits, and they're putting the Wolfhound breakdown under pressure, almost getting that turnover, but just coming off their feet and giving away the penalty, unfortunately.
That was some good work.
Can you confirm, boy?
Claire Bowles having a little chat with Oisin Quinn, the referee.
30 to go.
Stane O'Brien finds touch.
Okay.
And well, we've seen what the Wolfhounds can do with their set piece.
Yeah.
And we know that they can do it from just about anywhere.
If you go up,
so one would feel there's something on the way here.
Sorry.
Taken off the top from Erin King. Wafer has her hands on it. Adagama through the first defender and pops it up, and it's just about left behind, and that's really unfortunate. And a lovely little sniping run now, an attempt to break out from Eleanor Hing. As Brython look to counter-attack from deep.
No, it's below the line of the shoulder.
Big carry from Rogers, who's been a willing carrier for Brython all day. Marshall rechecks and steps inside 3 defenders. That's superb work from the number 10, who puts a big boot on it, collected by Doyle on the far side, swinging it into midfield, and Flood sliced somewhat off the kick, collected by Niamh Terry inside her own 22. Returns a big kick, collected and off go the Wolfhounds. Crohur on it, and Evie Gill making a nuisance of herself at the breakdown, but they still have the Wolfhounds, and it's Wafer on the carry, blowing through Katie Carr.
Hold.
Flood, flat pass, very unfortunate, just tipped on. It was an excellent flat pass, it just invited a gap and a break. Really unfortunate to see that move break down.
Yeah, we see the Wolfhounds had numbers overlapping there on the left-hand side, so just unfortunate that Ella Roberts couldn't get her hands on the ball there. But I think it was much better defensive effort from the Brython side. We would have expected the Wolfhounds to be able to set something up there from that line out. We have seen them do previously, but good Brython defence forcing them to go through the phases and ultimately making that forced error.
So the scrum will be Brython's. Played the majority of this game inside their own half.
Let's get the binds up. Crouch.
Ashley Beck, the coach, did talk about the learnings that this team will get. They're young, they're inexperienced. He said for some of them this was their first ever trip to Ireland. The Wolfhounds making hay. Really good snipe from Saren Singleton down this blind side. Superb work from the scrum half. Now needs the numbers, and a superb turnover from the Wolfhounds. She was isolated all on her own, and now suddenly Wolfhounds have Erin King on the step, breaking out a 1. Rogers involved, getting her to ground. Gaffney to Dane O'Brien. The carry into contact. Modowd.
Ball's out.
Ball skittering out the back, but Wolfhounds still have it. Nick Crohor and Dane O'Brien. It's a lovely flat pass. And a step back inside. Ella Roberts this way and that. And put to ground by Rogers. And a ball pilfered on the ground, it seems. Nope, just about returned. And Atagama's on the carry. It's going to take 2 or 3 to stop her. Eventually, she's put to ground. Jake Gaffney gets hands on it into midfield. O'Brien, little reverse. Roberts has to have, and through the hands they go, and it's suddenly Doyle on it again, and Doyle skinning around on the outside as she got the gas to go all the way. Covering players are coming in, but they will not stop Anna Doyle, who's going to score her hat-trick under the posts. The pace of this winger is absolutely phenomenal. The Brython Thunder team scrambling to get back and cover, but Anna Doyle finds another gear, bursts past the forlorn Hannah Marshall just trying to cover on the far side. The hat-trick for the winger on her return to the starting 15. She'll be delighted with that, Emer.
Yeah, she'll be very happy. A first half hat-trick, I think any of us would be. But I think it just, it's testament to this Wolfhound squad. Neil Alcorn has them well drilled, whether it be their forwards carrying it up, resourcing their ruck, the execution of their skills. It's just allowing them to compress the defence, to retain their ball, and to have confidence in their skills to get the ball wide and score tries like that.
An outstanding try. Well, there was a team effort involved in this. There were a lot of carries in midfield. There was heavy work being done. There was some good passing to spread it out, but that's still a very good individual try from Anna Doyle.
Oh, 100%. She didn't have it easy, and Hannah Marshall is a good defender. It's the opposite sideline to us, but I'm sure Anna Doyle was very tight for space there as well. So to back herself, to use her footwork and to use a fend to get around a defence, it just shows the skills Anna Doyle has as a winger.
Superb hat-trick of tries, and the kick is fumbled somewhat from Hannah Marshall and then allowed to run through. Crohor has hands on it.
Hold.
And a break through the middle. This Brython Thunder defence is soft on the edges sometimes, right at the pillar points. Gaffney, Dane O'Brien, and O'Brien puts a big kick up. The kick chase is good too, really well collected on the far side under pressure. Brython have Saren Singleton popping out, and that's a big carry from Natalia John. Brython picking and going, taking possession into the Wolfhounds halfway, and a little dink over the top from Hannah Marshall. And can she collect her own kick? Attempting to, but really well dealt with. Cover was good, and suddenly Brython have had to turn around and go back, and this kick chase is on. The pace from this Wolfhounds kick chase is good.
Stop, Brad. Keep coming back.
And the kick back for touch is really a superb touch finding, exiting kick. But so unfortunate for Hannah Marshall. Dinked it over the top, and for a moment it looked as though she may collect and really test this scramble from the Wolfhounds defence. But they're so organised, they know where their positions are, they know where they have to be on the field, Emer.
Yeah, and I think at the moment, Britain are letting the Wolfhounds play and then trying to counteract it rather than trying to disrupt that play. Hannah Marshall with a great kick and almost regathered it. But then we see the kick back to Britain, and there's nobody in the backfield kind of anticipating that coming back. We know Wolfhounds have a great back three. Stacey Flood, isn't shy about using her boot. So Britain need to kind of have a bit more collective cohesion on what their game plan is and be in those positions to anticipate the Wolfhound play so that they can be there regathering the ball on their terms and attacking back when Wolfhounds might be that bit disorganised.
Perhaps shades of the inexperience mentioned by head coach Ashley Beck.
Bind!
But Brython have the feed to this scrum after Atagama's not gone. The Wolfhound scrum is huge, and Singleton with the little pick up and go herself. But she's on her own, just about getting the cover she needs.
Release them, got to feet.
Brython now going through, making some yards in the contact. Wolfhound's defence is up quick, but the step back inside is really good, and Singleton slow getting back to the ruck, and instead it's a pick and go. Looks like Rogers to the deck she goes, and the referee
Join from.
Says holding on the ground, and that's a superb effort to turn that one over. I think it's Aaron King who's managed to get over it. It is Aaron King who managed to get on it and turn that one over.
Thanks, Barry.
Brython were just beginning to gain some momentum towards the end of this first half. Just minutes left in it.
I think we have to give, Brython a bit of credit as well. It's tiring. They've been primarily defending for a lot of this half as well, so we can see the tiredness coming in, bodies going off feet, possibly a bit slower to get to the ruck as well. But then against an experienced player like Aaron King that knows when players are isolated, knows to get a quick release and get hands in, it's very hard.
Taken by Aaron King off the top in the line out and into midfield, and once again the threat from the Wolfhounds is absolutely everywhere. Dalton on the carry, and it's stripped out of her hand, and suddenly Brython have the opportunity to try to attack. Kick from full-back knee of Terry, collected by Dan O'Brien in the backfield, and the out half was so quick to get back in and cover, and ball bouncing awkwardly and just about collected by Hannah Marshall. Lovely little step from the number 10, puts her boot on it. Bouncing awkwardly, but collected by Stacey Flood, and Flood looks up and sees where the space might be. Puts a little dink over a half crossfield kick and half touch finder. The ball bobbling awkwardly, bouncing into touch outside the 22. And just like that, Wolfhounds and Stacey Flood tactical kicking.
Yeah, great awareness from Stacey. She knows that the Brython team are disorganised, there's space out wide. She gets that kick away. But great solo effort there from Hannah Marshall. I think her kicking has been great today, and she's really gotten Brython Thunder out of some jams.
She has a fine step. That's 2 times she's managed to step. Natalia John takes off the top from Brython Thunder. Rogers does the carrying again. The ever-willing number 8 for the visiting side. Marshall collects it on her knees and steps yet again. She's so quick with that step. She's managed to clear and get a good exit for Brython up towards the halfway line. It's tricky feed from the 10.
Yeah, she's all over the park today.
There have been 1 or 2 standout Brython players, Marshall, Rogers, Natalia John, but there have been 15 outstanding Wolfhounds players taken in the middle. Into midfield it goes, and a little break. Griffin to Higgins, and to the deck she goes. Stacey Flood, lovely little pop back inside. Roberts stepping. Spencer pop up, and the carry to the deck. Little snipe again from Gaffney. This time the door is closed in her face as Brython reorganised. The ball knocked on from Gaffney in the contact. Well, she managed to make hay with a break earlier on, but Brython weren't going to give her the second opportunity, and that is all that we have from that first half. It's been, well, a fairly one-sided contest, Emer, and the story at 26-0 really is the story of Wolfhounds' dominance.
Yeah, I think we've seen a very polished Wolfhounds team that can attack from anywhere and have attacked from anywhere across this game, particularly from the return of Aoife Wafer, just setting up the initial tries, and then the pace of Anna Doyle and the skills across the park to get it to Anna Doyle, for her to dot down for 3, her hat-trick in the first half. But saying that, I don't think the score is fully reflective of the game. I think Brython Thunder, when they have gotten into kind of scoring positions or their own kind of orange zone or green zone, they have just through their own ill discipline or their own kind of handling errors have left a lot of opportunities out there. I think if they can get a bit of cohesion on the game plan, on their opportunities, particularly Sarah Singleton seems to be making some great breaks from either the ruck or from the scrum. If they can get some supporting players off her and just come together a bit more, I think they will get some opportunities in the second half.
Well, the tries, for Wafer involved, it was a little one side and then flick to the other. And the step back inside from Aoife Dalton to finish that. Well, that's classic Aoife Dalton on a training ground set piece move to open the scoring early in the game. Moving that Brython defence this way and that. Dalton, well, she's always going to finish from there. The second try from practically on their own line. And who else? Aoife Wafer from the pick, from the base, going the distance. Lovely little offload inside to Higgins, and Higgins back inside to Anna Doyle, and really the pace is absolutely extraordinary when she turns it on. And that's really what Aoife Wafer offers, isn't it?
Yeah, her rugby brain and her skills, you see her get the hand free there to give that offload. That's the difference in a player, you know, of her calibre and of her experience. The difference between her getting her hands free means that she can get the offload. Eve can get that offload to Anna with those supporting lines, and it's a try the other end of the pitch.
Third try of the game. Once again, team try. They've moved that ball through the hands. Dalton finding Doyle, and Doyle's step breaking out of the first tackle was superb. Getting over the line for her second of the game. Gaffney's distribution excellent today as well. All the players across that back line a threat with ball in hand and offloading. Doyle benefits.
Her left hand has done an awful lot of strong fending today, particularly in Hannah Marshall's shoulder. So
once again, this move all the way across the pitch, through the hands, everyone involved, but as soon as Doyle got her hands on it, well, Niamh Terry won't want to see that again. Burned around on the outside, nor indeed will Hannah Marshall. Stepped by Anna Doyle on her way to her hat-trick try to set up the easiest of conversions for Dana O'Brien, directly in front of the posts. And really, that turn of pace is just so... It's almost impossible to defend.
yeah, she's electric. And you see how little space she has to manoeuvre there. She knows, you know, great pitch awareness, knows exactly where the defender is, knows her pace, backs herself and gets right in under the posts.
Well, it's a 26-0 half-time lead for the home side. And we'll have a little look during the half-time break at the massive win for the Wolfhounds in the clash between these two sides last week in Wales. And we'll rejoin you very shortly for the second half live.
Welsh-Irish clash as Brython Thunder go head-to-head with last year's champions, the Wolfhounds, who have made the short trip across the Irish Sea. Picked the winning conversion to beat New Zealand over in the outside half, so pretty handy with the boot. Good work from that Wolfhounds pack. They're in close to that line, driving forward. There's Dugang who helps with the support, but it's the hooker, Maeve Clenahan, goes over for the opening try. And that'll be a disappointment for Brython Thunder, but a very well-worked driving maul from the Wolfhounds. And then the return leg of the Irish derby, it was almost a reversal of the score. I think it was 33-10. Winning ways against Gallia last week, and they go again here now, looking for their second try. Excellent tackle coming down, 3 metres short now, picked from the base from number 8, Erin King. Good defence from the Clover. Pick and go, drive, short step, all about leg power and drive here for Brython Thunder. It's about keeping your composure, keeping that line intact, but they can't, and they're over the line. And it is another very well-worked try from the Wolfhounds, Maeve Clenahan. Good ball at the front, high take from second row, Alma Atagan. close quarter stuff again from Wolfhounds. Now they come through their strike runners, good clear out from Dugang into midfield. Ball over the top, there are numbers out there. Last pass from Flood into the hands of Amy Lan, and the 20-year-old who played in the Paris Olympic Sevens goes over for her first try of the game, and the Wolfhounds third.
It's slick from the Wolfhounds, isn't it? It's accurate. It's slick, they're confident, their skill set has been pretty spot on so far in this game, only 15 minutes in. Just look at their hands here. Look at the thread of that pass in between the defenders. Great draw and give as well. The timing of the pass from this Wolfhounds side, just checking the defenders, unable to then push off.
Solid scrum from Thunder. Singleton into midfield, finds Webb. Webb, lovely offload. That's better. Hannah Black gets the ball to Ellie Tromans. Tromans chased by Eve Higgins. Tromans does well, and it is now Eleanor Hing comes across. Both wingers in action. Excellent play from Terry, keeping that move alive. Still they go towards that try line. It's the first attack in earnest from the Thunder. Turnover ball though. The crucial moment. Control is again gained by the ladies in the blue and white. Pick and drive. Good work. Still they go. From the base, all the strike runners are there. Linda Dugang, Alma Tagaman. Once again, they go short. Good defence coming in from Lowry Williams. Pick and go to the right-hand side. Referee right on the spot now. This is just going to be a war of attrition. Tagaman can't quite get her hands on the ball, so she leaves it for Molly Boyne. Eventually comes back. Dugang will have a go. Great leg drive from the front rower. The Irish international is just short. They go through the backs. Gaffney pulls it back. Little bit of width is there. The tackle goes in and is bounced off. There's nothing that Ellie Tromans can do, and that is the bonus point try for the Wolfhounds. Again, under all sorts of pressure. Forwards had a go at first when they were repelled 3 or 4 times. The ball went through the 3-quarter line. Hannah Lane bounced off and they get over for the try. But will this offer the Wolfhounds an opportunity to get another score just before half time? Alma Tagaman goes forward, makes meters. Quicker ball now for scrum half Jade Gaffney, snapping at the heels of her forwards. They're underneath the shadow now of Brython Thunder's posts. O'Brien into the hands of Dalton. If Dalton goes, and it is the centre, and you have to say that's a rather unfortunate score against Brython Thunder, because Saren Singleton, well, quite rightly, was looking up and seeing the 40 minutes up on the clock, under a little bit of pressure, put the ball over the touchline, get the referee to blow the whistle and get back in that changing shed, and they came out the wrong end on what could possibly be 7 points.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it, really, because they had a good defence down this edge, and then they've had this opportunity then because the clock hadn't gone.
Solid scrum. Gaffney goes to her left-hand side. Wide ball, missed pass out once again into the hands of Stacey Flood, the fullback. Does very well, a little show and go. Goes back to the outside then. He got outside of it. Katie Heffernan. Heffernan goes towards the try. Was she just over the touchline? Nod of the head from the assistant referee, Josh Seeley, and the try was given. Well, it was a lovely missed pass which opened up the space for Stacey Flood. You thought the fullback was going to go on her own. She eventually found replacement winger Katie Heffernan, and it is Heffernan who goes over for the 6th try of the game, and it takes the Wolfhounds up to 36 points.
I'd like to see that replay, Andy. I thought it was a really good job by Tromans. Look at Flood here, bit of show and go, and then gives the tackle. But watch Tromans, look at this work rate, look at her coming across. For me, that's foot in touch. It's really unlucky.
Inside. Goes to ground. Thunder have done well. Take that down, stop a little bit of momentum that the Wolfhounds have. Drive forward. Rachel McElroy, they go to the right-hand side, step back inside, looking for that try line. They're over. Referee confers with assistant referee on this near side.
Good step, wasn't it?
Well, felt that it was coming.
Yeah, good hands here by the replacement hooker, Burke. Good feet back inside.
Pick up from the base. Bowles still going. McElroy again. This time into the hands of Doyle. Doyle goes, still dragging on. Almost stolen. Great defence from Brython Thunder. Little bit of width. Fled wide pass into the hands eventually of Ella Roberts. And Ella Roberts is over the line. It'll be her second try of the game. Well, it was a good pass from player of the game. Stacey Flood recognised the opportunity out wide. A very comprehensive performance from a very, very strong Wolfhound side. Singleton finds Marshall. Marshall, one last dart. Ball goes downfield. Have a go is the shout from the coaches behind us. Little dart inside, Dalton does well. Oh, smart play, little knock on. Wasn't that a knock on from Stacey Flood? Dear me, a mistake, rare mistake. That's enough though. The referee blows for the end of the game. I mean, it's been an exciting encounter. There's been a lot of good things out there. And you cannot fault the commitment of the Brython Thunder, but today they came up against a force that was too strong. It's Brython Thunder 0, Wolfhounds 48.
Brython Thunder are back onto the pitch. The Wolfhounds make their way down the steps in the UCD Belfield Bowl for the start of the second half in this Celtic Challenge clash between the Welsh outfit and the Leinster Ulster outfit in blue and white. There has been a change around the 30-minute mark, having had a massive impact. At number 8, Aoife Wafer has made way, and it's Molly Boyne who comes in. And you don't ever want to see a player like Aoife Wafer going off a pitch, but Molly Boyne's a fine player to be able to bring on.
Absolutely, yeah. Molly Boyne has been involved in the Leinster interprovincial setup for the last number of years. Cope captain alongside Hannah O'Connor. So, she's great experience, and she'll also bring a lot of experience and leadership to this Wolfhounds side.
Jane O'Brien kicks off the second half. And a really well taken kickoff for Brython to get their hands on the ball and try to bring themselves back into this game. It's a mountain to climb. Marshall collects, knocks it on. As she collects, it was down around her knees when she tried to pick it up. Brython trying to get over that ball. They've done really, really well. And no advantage accruing from the knock on, but it was a good defensive effort to get over and spoil that Leinster or the Wolfhounds attack.
Yeah, just unfortunate, I think, a bit of maybe miscommunication, that pull-back pass, and there's just nobody there to collect it. So,
unfortunate spill for Brython, first error of the second half. 26-0 down. They have work to do. They'll be looking to improve. But as you pointed out, Emer, at half-time, it's energy sapping defending all the time.
Set.
Jade Gaffney with the feed. Erin King is back to the number 8 position now, and through the hands it goes, and Jane O'Brien pops it up for Stacey Flood, and Stacey Flood thought there was a gap on and just about brought to ground by Singleton. Erin King on the carry, pumping the legs through it, and through the hands they go, and a lovely little step back inside, and is O'Dowd all the way for the line. No, she's not. Brought short, but the Wolfhounds can sense it now. Through the hands they go.
Tacklers away.
To the deck. Through the hands again, and a little break is on, and the try is scored yet again. It's Aoife Dalton who gets it down for her second try of the game, and the 5th try for the Wolfhounds. 2 for Aoife Dalton, 3 for Anna Doyle. It's turning into a try-scoring competition for the Wolfhounds' backs. But you could sense there was something up from the moment that Niamh O'Dowd broke and started making gains up through the Brython defence. And the red jerseys at 6s and 7s trying to cope with the carrying options and passing options that the Wolfhounds provided.
Definitely good interplay. I think Stacey Flood was just in the corner of their eyes as well, and you know, when you've players of that calibre, Aoife Dalton and Stacey Flood, both as options and both coming at hard lines, it just sits a Brython defence down. And Aoife Dalton's not a player you want to sit back on your heels for, and her pace and her kind of low centre of gravity just drives her over the line.
That is a superb conversion from Dana O'Brien. She's missed only one of the 5 conversions she's been offered today. That one was by no means an easy kick. Once again, Hannah Marshall has to restart for Brython. Collected from the Wolfhounds, who immediately start the heavy carrying job.
Tacklers roll.
Haney's on the carry and Gaffney picks for Dane O'Brien. O'Brien with a long kick as the 50-22. Well, it bounced well outside the 22, and Brython are scrambling to deal with it as Evie Higgins put the pressure on, and through the hands, Brython looking to collect themselves. Lovely little step. Show and go, really well done from the centre, Ellie Trummins. An unfortunate, unforced error. There was nothing wrong with the pass, but Evie Gill, you'd think, was looking up in front of her at who was about to hit her in that tackle, and took her eyes off the ball for just a second. And that's what defensive pressure will do.
Yeah, I think that's unfortunately a bit of the theme of the day for this Brython side, but some great work, as you said, by Ellie Trummins. You know, a step off the left, step off the right, and just to get that bit of dominance in the collision, especially under the likes of pressure from Eve Higgins and Anna Doyle.
And so, Wolfhounds set piece has been immaculate, but it's the team cohesion that's been their biggest asset. They come down the blind side, and it's picked from the back from Erin King, and has Anna Doyle outside her, but really good work from Saren Singleton to slow that ball coming back, and it's taken out on the Brython side. That's really good defensive work from the visiting team, who have to resource that ruck a little bit better. Serious pressure on Saren Singleton, who is caught with her hands on it and says there was no advantage. Ref, come back for the knock on, please. And just about collected. Referee just explaining to Jade Gaffney and to Claire Bowles, who might be suggesting that he's missed something there. Very gently suggesting to the referee that he may have missed something.
Great to see this Brython team has come out with the same intent that they kind of have showed towards the end of the game. As we've alluded to a couple of times, defending is quite tiring, so to come out with that intent, and ultimately there ended up getting the ball back.
Saren Singleton feeds, and the Wolfhound scrum is huge. They're going to take this one against the head. They've absolutely rolled over the top of the Brython pack and earned themselves a penalty, and that is a huge, huge shove from the home side.
Collapse.
And a really, really tough on Katie Carr, the Brython tight head, who was under pressure immediately.
There's cops, there's players in the ground. Well,
as soon as that ball went in.
Guys, drop the ball immediately at the whistle, please.
Haney and O'Dowd.
Yes.
Dane O'Brien is going to put this one into touch and set up the attacking platform, and you sense there's blood in the water here for the Wolfhounds. So we just take another look at that scrum, and it's just such a huge, huge shove from the Wolfhounds. Absolutely no way.
No contest.
That Finlay Jones, Lucy Isaacs or Jessica Rogers could do anything about that with the ball at the back, and Wolfhounds are on the attack again. A little pick and jam. Brython not committing numbers. The line looming for the Wolfhounds. It's going to be kept tight, I think. Pick and go. Brython working hard. Robin Davies doing her best to keep this one out. It's pick and it's go again.
Short.
The line is just inches away, and looks like Atacama's got her hands on it, and she's put to ground before she can even pick. And around the corner they come again. Brython defending hugely. It's everything they can, and Gaffney spots the gap outside through the hands, and Anna Doyle has scored her 4th try of the game. Gaffney doing really well to manage that one, knowing full well when she needed to go outside. Dana O'Brien puts the winger over for her 4th try of the game, and the Wolfhounds stretch their lead to 38 points to nothing.
Just don't get involved in it.
Yeah, great work from Jade, the young scrum half there. You see the forwards well organised, they're immediately ready to latch on, drive the players over. They've got that quick support that Jade can get the ball clearly out. Great awareness from Jade there, nice ball to Dana. Dana just feeds straight into Anna Doyle, who crosses for her 4th, as you said.
Well, it's comprehensive, as we expected it might be today. There are no weak links in this Irish Wolfhounds team. And what's more, they're playing for each other. And we will see the benches being emptied fairly soon, you would think, for the Brython Thunder team.
Time off.
That conversion
It's on.
not made.
Is it coming
6
through?
tries for the Wolfhounds. And we are seeing the first of the replacements for the Wolfhound side.
It's all the equipment we have to wear. Sorry, Tank, you just hold a second.
Caoimhe Malloy is making her way on.
Time on.
Anna Marshall restarts yet again. That kick aimed and really well collected. It was superb work from Eleanor Hing, but Wolfhound still returned the possession. Hing collected it well, but the Wolfhounds were waiting. Dane O'Brien attempted block down, really well collected in the backfield, and Seren Singleton is suddenly off and manages to get up as far as Maeve Clenaghan, who makes the tackle, brings her to ground. Brython looking for the second layer of their attack and having to go backwards to collect. Robin Davies under huge pressure. The ball is out and it's picked. Well, that was just smart, and I think it's Molly Boyne who noticed it. As Evie Higgins finds Dane O'Brien through the hands, and suddenly they're off again, and it's Flood, and that one looked high, but she manages to ride the tackle and burst out and step back inside and through the gap. Just brought down by Finlay Jones. Little weighted pass outside. Doyle has to step back inside. Tackle is good from Ellie Trummins. But the Wolfhounds hungry for it. Seren Singleton doing well to slow the attack down, but there are numbers outside. Stopped at the gain line, the Wolfhounds. Gaffney into midfield, and the step back inside. Dalton's caught. It's a really good tackle that time from Gabby Heelan. That's the first time that the Wolfhounds have lost ground on their own attack, I think, in this game. Little dink through to be chased and caught really well in the backfield from Hannah Lane. Lane puts a boot on it. That one's dropping and collected well. Flung into midfield. And the Wolfhounds will check out the defensive abilities of Brython, and suddenly through the gap, and the players are queuing up. They want quick ball here. It's slow coming back, but eventually picked and go, and the Wolfhounds' relentless attack continues. Gaffney. Caoimhe Malloy on the carry. The replacement front row. Awkward for Gaffney, but gets it, and into midfield it goes, and Dalton. Higgins is caught, and the ball is loose, and it's been knocked on. And that's a little bit better from Brython Thunder in terms of their defensive work.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, they've come out with great intent. They're putting pressure on the outside backs. They know the Wolfhounds want to get it wide. They know that they've good execution skills. So to come up so quickly and put pressure on the likes of Stacey Flood, Aoife Dalton, Eve Higgins, that's an absolute positive for them here in the second half.
Looks as though Poppy Hughes is on also for the Brython Thunder side, alongside Stella Oren in that front row. And Elan Lowry Williams remains on the pitch. But Stella Oren and Elon Jones are on.
Bang!
It's a very young and a very inexperienced Brython side.
Set!
There are lessons to be learned from playing a team the quality of this Wolfhound side.
We've two couple of changes here for the looks of it.
King has made way also.
But you're definitely new. Let's get our binds up and our feet
For
forward,
Brython.
and let's not go down on the engage.
I think the Brython attack at times is sometimes very flat and very unidimensional, just one line. If they could get that second line of attack the way the Wolfhounds have, it'll just give them more options to see where the gaps are and put those players into space. But that's all about the organisation, and as we said, this is a very young team that are quite inexperienced in comparison to the Wolfhound squad.
That second layer hasn't really materialised for Brython, and through their hands they go, and the ball kicked,
Off blue.
bouncing into touch.
Perfect.
And there was pressure on from the Wolfhounds.
Yeah, your marks there.
And the kick blocked down, meaning that it will be a put in to the Brython line out. The first throw in
There's your mark, yeah.
for Poppy Hughes. Small in stature, the Brython hooker. Really good jump from Aaron King, steals the line out, and then there's a knock on. Unfortunately, Brython still have just about retaining possession.
Advantage.
Work from
Offside, you retreat.
advantage still coming. Saren Singleton,
Penalty advantage.
the flash
You're offside.
outside. Marshall into midfield it goes. Drummond steps back inside, can't wriggle out of the tackle, and does manage to pop it up. Little step from Lane, and onto the deck she goes, and it looks as though that's a really good contest.
No advantage.
It
Go
was a
back.
really good contest, and it looked as though the Wolfhounds had turned it over, but advantage was still being
Yeah,
played,
that's
and Hannah
okay.
Marshall
Offside.
taps it and goes and dinks it over the top. Would she run onto it herself? No, she can't. Ella Roberts is waiting for it. Roberts feeds Flood. Flood stepping this way and that, and outside of two tackles, eventually brought to ground. And Elaine having to do the work. Big tackle from Poppy Hughes to stop the Wolfhounds behind the gain line, and that's a much better
Tackle assist,
Run.
release.
one out carry. Gaffney
Blue, stop
flings
and
it
retreat
back.
to your place.
Den O'Brien puts the boot on it, testing Lane, who has to turn, get her hands on this. Does,
Inside.
looking up and seeing what's in front of her. Lovely little step back inside, and suddenly she's off. Lane's done really, really well, bursting into
Tackle.
Atacama and somehow making a yard or two in the tackle,
in.
despite being considerably smaller. Poppy Hughes, big, massive tackle in midfield, and down she
Hold.
goes.
Hold.
Singleton. Brython are willing carriers, and it's been knocked on under pressure, and Stella Oren just couldn't keep her hands on it.
Tackle
Dan
draw.
O'Brien.
Advantage over.
Kiva Malloy on the carry for the Wolfhounds. Gaffney for Molly Boyne. And the Wolfhounds queuing up and looking to find the gaps, and the ball is awkward and breaking loose, and it's on the deck.
Rock form, no
Brython
hands,
looking to paint a
no
picture for the
hands.
referee, but just slowing the possession down a little bit. Awkward pass, ball has been knocked on,
Just knocked on the
and it
ground
wasn't the
there.
cleanest of passes. Eventually it's on the deck, and we'll have a little breath because that was frantic.
Yeah, I think it's all been a little bit scrappy in the last couple of phases. I think Brython are just kind of forcing things a little bit, and the Wolfhounds have actually started to do something similar. Both teams, I guess, still trying to feel the way into the second half, but
I'll go speak to their players
just-
as well. Didn't see.
you know, trying to be comfortable going through the
11?
phases. If it is a carry that they've
11?
committed, just to carry it, resource the breakdown and get clean ball for the scrum half.
I didn't see.
Both teams are
I
kind of
didn't
trying
see
to
it, so I've got
get
to
those
report to
offloads
for a
in the
bit.
contact zone when it mightn't be on. And there's just too many hands in there. Often the Wolfhounds are just getting the turnover purely because they have the bodies in around that offload position.
Finlay Jones is getting treatment, and Nushin Quinn, the referee, has had a little word with one or two of the Brython players, and now having a word with his touchy.
Are you fit to continue, or do you need...
He's asking if Finlay Jones is fit to continue. I tell you, John comes back, and you just wonder, was there a word from the touch judge? Is there a potential penalty here? Finlay Jones. Well, she looks fit to continue. Oisín Quinn just checks that, and
Only we had one.
play will resume with the scrum. So for just a moment I thought something had been seen or spotted by the touch judge, but nothing so sinister as that. And instead it will be the scrum for the knock-on, which Sharon Singleton will feed. She's had a tough day at the office behind a heavily beaten pack, has Sharon Singleton.
Yeah, definitely, but she's made some great
Taken
breaks.
against the head, and suddenly the Wolfhounds are off again. Ball just skittering in the middle of that scrum, and Jade Gaffney trying to buy herself a penalty, and I think she's got the advantage.
Penalty advantage.
And so the pick and go. Still advantage being played. Gaffney at a Garma. Big carry and a lovely little handoff. Gaffney has, through the gap she tries to go. Gabby Heelan doing well to bring her down. Dana O'Brien is calling for it. She wants it spread at a Garma. That's a big, big tackle from Lucy Isaac on the second row. Evie Higgins flings it outside. Ella Roberts steps back inside, but the door closes in her face. Brython have done well there to stem the tide. What was a big attack as Molly Boyne carries into contact. And has a maul been called?
No advantage.
The referee is going to come back, indicating that Brython were offside, and it will be a penalty to the Wolfhounds. Well, the line speed was good from Brython, but perhaps too good.
Yeah. Again, I think unfortunate for Britain, like they were defensively doing very well, getting 2-3 bodies in around those big tackle zones. I just think, is there a bit of a blood substitution here, or medic giving a bit of treatment to somebody?
No, that's
Brython player down.
I didn't feel it was.
Looks like a nosebleed. There have been some big hits in the middle of all of that sequences.
Time off.
Big carries and big hits, and the clock is off as the treatment is received, and a chance for the sides to take a little breather as the Wolfhounds pack has a little chat. What do you think they're saying to each other inside in the middle of that?
I think they might be saying just to get back to basics. They've tried a few offloads there, and I know it paid off with Jade Gaffney getting her hands on, but you do run the risk of getting isolated. They're lucky that they have the speed to be able to resource those rucks. But I'd imagine, from the pack, what they want is those big forward carries and that quick ball. If Jade Gaffney ends up carrying it, we don't have a 9 to distribute, so it can just disrupt the play a little bit. So I imagine they'll just be saying to the forwards, tuck it up the jersey, give that offload at the start, that little tip on ball if you want, but maybe to minimise those offloads in the contact zone, which are a little bit 50-50 sometimes.
38 points to 0. The Wolfhounds very much in the ascendancy, and we will see a blood substitution. Fionn Davies, Anna Stowell.
Offside.
Anna Stowell makes her way on for the Brython side. And the offside penalty means that Dana O'Brien takes play up to just inside the 22.
Mark, you're set there.
And the attack is very much on.
No contest.
And the maul set up and rolling. And that's a really, really good maul. Whitney Crohor at the heart of it. It's spinning and turning and really well controlled. That's a technical skill. And all the way over the line they're going to go. And the ball is grounded. And that is the 7th try of the game. It's a superb score. And I think it's Kelly Burke.
Yeah, Kelly at the back of that maul. Bit of a trick maul. We haven't seen the Wolfhounds do too much throughout this competition, but something I'd imagine they're looking to bring forward through the next round of games. We see, I think it's Aaron King getting up at the front, and then just that shift or transfer of the ball. Yeah, that transfer back to Claire Bowles. Clíona Cúncavar getting it at the back. That just shifts that point of contact and allows them to get that momentum. And, you know, with this strong pack, if you have that momentum behind you and all bodies driving, it's very hard to stop.
Aaron King had done tremendous work at the front of that. Dane O'Brien addresses yet another conversion. That one looks good. Nope, just shaving the outside of the post. And 43 points to nil with 20 minutes still to play. You would imagine now, Emer, that it's damage limitation for the 20 minutes remaining in this game for Brython.
It is, but I'd like to see them, you know, be able to string some things together. They already knew coming into this game how strong the Wolfhounds side was. But to get the confidence for their next set of games, I mean, they're coming up against the Clovers in round 6 of the Celtic Challenge. So it'd be great for them to get some confidence at their general play to improve their supporting lines going forward.
Hold.
Wolfhounds have.
Hold.
And it looks as though replacements have been made. We'll bring you those as soon as we have them. And Hannah Marshall has her hands on it and steps again. Superb work from the 10, stepping through several tackles and eventually brought to ground.
No one back.
A big wide pass is thrown out. It's really awkward and taken, just about taken in the backfield from Amy Williams. Saren Singleton to Poppy Hughes, and Hughes steps, does well, and it's intercepted, and it's gonna be a score. It's a superb interception. The pass wasn't superb and picked off in midfield.
Leah Tarpey, great read there. I think she knew it was scrappy, and she knew Poppy Hughes was looking around for someone to pass it to. Just getting in that channel, and great read by Leah Tarpey.
Leah Tarpey picking off Poppy Hughes's wayward throw after Hannah Marshall had done some great work to make some ground for Brython. Really awkward throw, and Tarpey, alive, alert, picks that one off. And that's tough stuff if you're Brython Thunder.
Yeah, we mentioned their next game against the Clovers, and I think just for them to get that bit of cohesion, it's trying not to force it so much. It's very difficult when the scoreline is the way it is and you feel like you have to do whatever you can to put someone else into a better position than you. But sometimes it is just about the basics and carrying it up and getting the clean ball for your 9 and just building the phases, which unfortunately they haven't been able to do today.
50 points, a half century for the Irish Wolfhounds. Hannah Marshall kicks it off. Well taken at the 10
Ball's available
from the Wolfhounds. Rachel McElroy now at scrum half. The ball is awkward and slightly wayward, and Dalton has to collect it on the ground, and Brython making nuisance of themselves at that breakdown. McElroy's pass has got some serious pace on it. The referee is going to call time off. It looks as though there's been a bit of a head collision.
It'll be a blue ball, but with 2 heads
I think Poppy Hughes took a bit of a hit there.
Take your time.
And we've another Britain player.
There was a hit on the replacement hooker. In fact, it looks like there's a couple of players getting up and recovering from that. As we have time off in this game. Medics queuing, players having to queue up to see the medic. Referee stopping it for everyone's safety, and the Wolfhounds huddle up. Just about 17 minutes left in this game, and at 50 points to nil. Well, you mentioned it, Emer, as the game was going. They're very much targeting a big points difference here, because by the end of this competition it could come down to that.
Yeah, exactly. Just given the way the fixtures have gone, with the Wolfhounds beating the Clovers in round 1, and then reverse fixture, Clovers coming out on top. It is currently a Wolfhound 1 and Clovers 2 in the standings. So, you know, nobody can predict the games that are to come. But if the form of the Clovers continues and the form of the Wolfhounds continues, it could ultimately come down to points. And I believe that's definitely what's in the Wolfhounds' mind at this stage, just to get as much points on the board as they can.
There was a knock to the head. I think it was
Okay. Same standard.
Ian
just
Jones
before.
or excuse me, Anna Stoll who got it. And well, if Jessica Rogers thought her game was done for the day, some bad news as she makes her way back out onto the pitch. It's a head injury replacement,
Crouch.
and it will restart with a scrum to the Wolfhounds.
Bind. Set.
McElroy's feet, that's a much better scrum from Brython. And Brython get the reward for it. It's a much, much bigger scrum from the Welsh side. And Saren Singleton is very keen to get this one started as soon as she can. Taps and goes and looks to go down on the open side, and there's not a whole lot of numbers available to her. And well, that seemed like a bit of a rush of blood to the head for the 9. But Brython do return their own possession. That's a big carry from Stella Oren. Singleton
Tackle roll.
Heelan on the carry. To the deck she goes. Poppy Hughes. Big tackle from Molly Boyne. Marshall looks for the skip pass. Brython doing really well to keep the ball
Tackle roll.
under good defensive pressure from the Wolfhounds. Stopped again at the gain line. Having to go backwards. It's not how they wanted it. Marshall inside pass was to nobody. And Poppy Hughes has to dive on it.
Backwards.
And once again, Brython going backwards on their own possession. That's a better carry from Elan Jones. Straightened up. And to the second layer they go. That's the first time, and it was almost picked off. And suddenly they're hacking it through, and it's collected. And the referee says no advantage for the knock on, and it looked for just a moment as though that was going to be picked off and Wolfhounds would run in another score. And instead the ball trickling off the fingertips. Really unfortunate for the Wolfhounds, and indeed for Brython. It looked like they might be finding the edge of that Wolfhounds defence. And instead, slow play down yet again. Second half not being played at the same pace that the first half was played at.
No, and I'd say there's an element of fatigue there. I think the Wolfhounds are comfortable, so they can really play the game at whatever pace they want to. They're really, because they're experienced, I think they know that they're comfortable at giving quick ball when they need to. They're organised that they can play quick, but also if they want to slow it down and get their forwards around or get the carries in to make space or make more opportunity, they're very happy to. I feel Britain are kind of playing a bit frantically at times. Sometimes Saren Singleton going off by herself and the rest of the team not really that organised around her. So yeah, I think Britain are trying to match the Wolfhounds rather than playing their own game at the moment.
Crossfield kick was from Hannah Marshall, and no real advantage. Wolfhounds kick it straight back at the number 10, who's got a lovely step and dinks it over the top and goes to chase her own kick. It might be too far in front of her. Ball bouncing awkwardly. Marshall wants hands on it. Ball is on the deck, making a nuisance of herself, the number 10, but the Wolfhounds have. And Ella Roberts trying to step back inside. Does well, goes to ground. They need to resource this one, and they just about do. Calling for a scrum half. Replacements acting as scrum halves. Slow coming back. McElroy spins it back for Dana O'Brien. He's got a huge boot. Big left foot from the 10. Brython have and look to come roaring out of their own half. Isolated now and need to get their hands on this one, and Saren Singleton does. There's no gap to run into. Amy Williams trying to step back inside. Up to the 10. Singleton has to go on the open side. There's nobody on the blind. Hughes risky and knocked on the ground. It was a risky pass from Poppy Hughes. Risked another intercept, and the Wolfhounds have managed to get possession back. Turned it over near the halfway line. Big carry from Kelly Burke. McElroy fishing for it at the bottom. Flings it out for Dana O'Brien, and suddenly it's going through the hands And once again, Anna Doyle has her hands on it. There's space in front of her to run into. Steps back inside, through one of the tackles, almost through the second. Pops it up for Dalton. And Aoife Dalton is going to run this one into this corner and score another try. Her hat-trick as she goes back under the posts to touch it down. An Aoife Dalton hat-trick after the setup from Anna Doyle bursting through one tackle. And that's 2 hat-tricks in the game, and the Wolfhounds are rampant when there's space in front of them, and Anna Doyle just needs half a yard. She was given half an acre, and you just knew the score was coming.
Yeah, great work and interplay between Aoife Dalton and Anna Doyle. Anna Doyle backing herself and getting around that last Brython defender. And I think just, having the awareness that Aoife's there running that support line. Perfect timing, and Aoife just completely unopposed to run that in.
And that's as easy a score as you'll get. Perhaps only the Leah Tarpey one easier, but a good support line from Dalton. We talked a little bit earlier on, Emer, about defensive positioning and offensive positioning and knowing where you need to be on the pitch. It's a thing that comes with experience. When you've got a player like Dalton, she knows where she needs to be. As soon as that ball goes into Anna Doyle's hands, she knows where she needs to be to finish that. She can already see that try being scored, and she's inside her own half.
Exactly, yeah, and I think, from consistently training with her outside wingers, she knows how players like to attack the game. So we know that Anna Doyle has pace and she backs herself, so she more than likely will try take a defender on the outside, which Aoife knows perfectly, because she'll then run that inside support line. Even that initial try at the start of the game between Eve Higgins and Anna Doyle as well, and Aoife Wafer, knowing your players so well and that consistently training with them means you can put yourself in that best position to be able to finish off tries like that completely unopposed.
Well, the kickoff from Hannah Marshall didn't go 10, but the Wolfhounds collected and then infringed at the breakdown, and that allows Brython the opportunity to kick into touch and see if they can't organise an attack from just outside the Wolfhounds 22.
Okay, Mark.
It's been a long day at the office for Brython Thunder, and I think any score at all would be considered a result, considering they were nilled last week.
Your marks, yeah, come to Mark, come up. Yeah, here's the mark, here's your mark.
Poppy Hughes goes to the middle, and it's really well and awkwardly taken from Robin Davies, and just about, and into midfield it goes again, and Brython have managed to retain their own possession, but just about, and it's really scrappy. The Wolfhounds eating up Brython carriers, and they've managed to rip it in the contact area as well, and suddenly they're on the rampage. The Wolfhounds looking to make hay. McElroy into midfield.
Huge space out here on the right, which the Wolfhounds are screaming at.
Awkward pass, and just about brought up to hands. Higgins has on the ground. And once again, it's through those hands, and Dalton has it and squares up and sees Doyle, and Doyle tries to step outside of Trummins and can't. McElroy, and really well popped up, and there's nobody at home, and a little break through, little show and go, and suddenly they're on the rampage again. Step back inside, and this way and that, Erin King manages to make the yards up towards the 22. That was Quiva Malloy who got the break initially. McElroy, O'Brien, and it's been knocked on. And the Wolfhounds, well, they're so efficient. They're so dangerous on every single play. Brython get to heave a sigh of relief that that's not another score.
Red 10, please.
Yeah, it was great work there from Molly Boyne and Brittany Hogan. I think it's just their organisation that allows them to do that. Molly Boyne was early set up in her kind of lead position to get the ball. She knew that Brittany was there in the gap. Molly perfectly delays the timing to get Brittany through that gap, and Brittany just keeps the leg drive going. She has support there with her. And again, that's just what organisation can give you, and I think that's what Brython Thunder are just missing a little bit. They are not able to set up those kind of attacking options or put other attacking players into space.
Well, it's been absolutely rampant for scores in this game, and we'll take a little time as Brython look to attack from in their own 22. We'll take a little time to talk about the player of the match. For you, Emer?
Yeah, I had a couple of names down. I think first half, Aoife Wafer showed off a great display just on her return to the game. I know she only got kind of 33 minutes, but she just showcased the calibre of player that she was, whether it be herself carrying, distributing. Aoife Dalton, I think, has run some absolutely great supporting lines. Herself managing to come out with 3 tries just through her lines, through her work and her distribution as well. But I think we can't ignore Anna Doyle and what she's come out with today. Not just attacking wise, she's done great footwork, she's fended, she's had to work for a lot of her tries, but I think even off the ball she's worked very hard in the backfield, and there's been that constant communication that we can hear up in the comms box between Anna and Stacey Flood and Ella Roberts. So yeah, for me today, player of the match is Anna Doyle.
So Anna Doyle, the player of the match, the number 14, with 4 tries on her return to this Wolfhound squad.
There's no, you can't cover, we can't count for not straight.
Wolfhounds winger.
Options, line out or scrum.
With her braided hair, running from all kinds of distances, finishing one from only a metre out, another from 40 or so metres out. She's been absolutely outstanding since her return.
Oh, sorry.
Not in the squad last week, back in. Anna Doyle, player of the match.
Crouch!
So
Crouch! Bind!
just minutes left in this one.
Set!
As McElroy. It's a huge scrum from Brython Thunder, looking to finish this one strongly, and McElroy, but it's been knocked on. No, referee says knocked back, and Brython have and look to go on the attack. Sarah Singleton. No, that was knocked on. Oh, there was pressure being put on McElroy at the back of that scrum. Brython getting a good shove on, but it's not enough to turn over possession. Knock on.
We're inside.
And with just over 2 minutes left in this, you imagine the Wolfhounds will see this one out from here, Emer.
But I'm not calling crouch till you're ready.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. Despite the scoreline, I think even that scrum goes to show this Brython Thunder team, they're well more than capable of facing a squad like the Wolfhounds team. They do have that power in the pack, and skills in the back. Hannah Marshall has been great today as well. I think it's just the small things, unfortunately, that have been letting them down. The likes of the execution, sometimes overplaying that, not having a huge amount of organisation, which are just small things. If they could fix those things, they'd give themselves a lot more options, a lot more opportunities, and would really threaten the defence more.
Pick from the back for the Wolfhounds inside their own 22. And through the hands they're going, looking to keep this one alive and build from inside their own 22. And O'Brien with a big, high, hanging kick, and Anna Doyle is under that to compete. And it's knocked on into touch by Amy Williams. Stacey Flood wants it quickly taken, but referee says, no, hang on a sec, no, we're going to come back for this one.
Touch. Yeah, it's blue ball, but ball was touched, couldn't be taken quick.
It's going to be put in for Kelly Burke.
Yes, okay. There you go.
To this line out. Clock ticking towards the 80-minute mark.
Hold on, with players down here. So.
Referee counting numbers. There's a medic on the pitch as one of the Brython players receives some treatment. It's Sarah Singleton, the scrum half, who's been lively and really crisp pass. Unfortunately hasn't had the opportunity to display that too often.
No, she made a good few breaks kind of down the blind side off a few scrums and rucks. Just unfortunate that there wasn't kind of that support player, anyone that she could link in with, but has been a threat and very active off the ruck throughout the game.
So it's been an attritional game. Brython have had to make themselves as physical as they can possibly be against a very, very strong Wolfhounds team, replete with star players who really do know their jobs. They know what they're about, And for an inexperienced team, just too hard to handle.
Take the gap, Blue.
Kelly Burke to throw in. Awkward and overthrown and taken by Saren Singleton at the back, and the scrum half is on the rip again.
Tackle
Up
release.
to the 22 and to the deck she goes, and Rogers has to go in through the hands.
Tackle.
Poppy
release.
Hughes trying to get herself over and get that one on the deck, and it is to the ground it goes, and Saren Singleton comes back on this side. Little offload, just about collected near the knees by Natalia John, as Brython look to finish strong, and that's a lovely little break.
7 roll.
Carry
You're off your
from
feet.
Stella Oren.
Hands
The
and
ball
goal.
is on the ground. Referee says Wolfhounds have infringed, and Saren Singleton picks it and goes and gets the little pop up and the little step inside, and there is a try scored by Gabby Heelan. Finally Brython get over the line, and they're celebrating. They're delighted with that. It was Saren Singleton who urged her team on the scrum half, and the offload up to Gabby Heelan to finish. And you have to be just a little bit delighted for Brython.
Absolutely, and I do feel like that was coming. We see Saren Singleton really has to take a lot of credit for that. She got the overthrow and attacked it, putting the Brython Thunder, her teammate number 12, oh, bit of a high tackle we see in the replay, putting her into space. But that's what it is. The Brython team were just organised. They got on top of the Wolfhounds. The Wolfhounds couldn't tackle for 10 metres. And just with that momentum, they can run great lines, and I'm delighted to see them get a try.
Ali Trummans, the centre, is going to be kicking this one as Hannah Marshall has come out of the game. So the 13 swings a boot at it, and that is going to go well to the right. It's not going to split the posts, but if Brython Thunder were nilled in the last game, they're not so here. They've managed to get themselves on the score. With about a minute left in this game.
Just make sure the ball's behind the line, on or behind.
I said a minute, I meant a half a minute. The kickoff, aimed at the Brython second row, is collected really well, and Anna Doyle has her hands on it to the deck. She goes. McElroy popping it up. Burke on the carry. She stopped. No gain. McElroy into midfield. O'Brien flinging it through. Good hands, just about collected by Stacey Flood, being hunted down by Griffin. This really will now be the last play. The next time this ball goes dead, it'll be an error or into touch, and the game is over. Wolfhounds, though, will want to build and see if they can get themselves back on the scoreboard. That was an attempted tackle from Robin Davies, and a fend, and suddenly the Wolfhounds do look like they've got numbers. Much better tackle this time from Amy Williams. McElroy. Attempted rip, not there. McElroy, it's low. Dalton collects it and does well on the ball. Knocked on. It's on the deck, and Brython have it. It's picked from the back.
No advantage.
The knock on
Last play.
is going to signal the end of the game. A referee calls it, and that is that in this contest at the UCD Belfield Bowl between the Irish Wolfhounds and Brython Thunder. Finishes with a flurry for the Welsh side, who get their first try in this fixture out of 2 attempts. But the story of the game really is Anna Doyle and the Irish Wolfhounds, Emer.
Yeah, I mean, the Wolfhounds have been absolutely very strong, well drilled. You know, their two-way of attack just proven too much for this Brython team, allowing them to manipulate the defence, get into the gaps. And then when you have supporting runners like that, it's just about picking off a back three, either a winger or a full-back in the back. And that's what this Wolfhound squad can do. And when they do get a gap, they have the pace. Ella Roberts, Anna Doyle, Aoife Dalton. Yeah, they're very threatening across the board, and I think the scoreline proves that.
Well, Anna Doyle takes the Player of the Match award for 4 tries. Aoife Dalton with a hat-trick. Plenty of scores on offer. And as you'd expect, this Wolfhound side dominant in the UCD Belfield Bowl in this Celtic Challenge Cup, the opening fixture of round 5. The Wolfhounds will do a little bit of a debrief. Brython will have to go again. It's going to be a long journey home for the visiting side. But full congratulations to the Wolfhound side. Managed to rein in some scores, and that brings the standings. You can see the points difference, 146 points plus for the Wolfhounds. The Clovers have got a game at hand. They'll need to get a bonus point win to put the pressure back on the Leinster-Ulster combo side if they're going to have any chance to stay in this competition. For poor Brython, it's another loss on the road with nothing to show save for the 5 points scored right at the very end. The finishing of round 5 will see the chance for the Clovers to get a victory the 25th of January, a 1 o'clock kickoff in Scottstown against Glasgow. And then on Sunday, Edinburgh host Galway Lightning, the other Welsh outfit in this 6-team competition. For the Clovers, it's a big ask at Glasgow. They'll be hoping to keep the pressure on the Wolfhounds. Dominant here today with a plethora of tries, a huge performance right across the park. Well, we're going to wrap it up very shortly. We're going to have some highlights to show you, and we are going to get a chance to speak very shortly to the Irish Wolfhounds coach and to player of match, Anna Doyle. For the moment, the highlights package, and we'll rejoin you with the coaches and the player of the match very shortly. Anna, that's a hell of a way to announce your return to fitness. 4 tries, player of the match performance. How do you feel after it?
Yeah, I'm just delighted to get the opportunity. Like, we've great depth in the squad, so I'm glad that I finally got the chance to show what I can do, and it was really a team effort out there. Like, great passes from all my other teammates to put me away. So
yeah, it's a team effort. I'm just glad to get the win. We've had a couple of good training weeks, so I think that really helped me and the team come out with the win today.
Brython were quite physical for parts of the game. Were you expecting that before you started?
Yeah, we were. Like, we done our own team analysis, and we knew that the breakdown was going to be an area that they were going to target. So I think we focused on that in the past couple of sessions that we done, and I think that really benefited us today. And I think we proved ourselves in the breakdown. We were aggressive and, you know, came out on top.
In terms of the other players on the squad, it's a really packed squad. How tough is competition getting into the team?
Yeah, it's a really tough year with the World Cup coming up, so you know, everyone's fighting for their spot. Everyone wants to put their hand up, so I think that's really good. It's only going to drive standards and, you know, constantly improvement. So I think, yeah, it's a great competition to be in, and it's a really good year. So hopefully people can put their hands up and build on this, yeah, as we go forward.
Well, the result now puts pressure perhaps on the Clovers to try to respond in kind. Is this a statement of intent from the Wolfhounds about ending with the season with silverware?
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's always a tough battle between the two sides. We've already played against them, so definitely the couple of matches that we have left, we're going to have to up our game and make sure we get the wins that we want, and, you know, keep our own standards high and focus on our own game. Yeah.
Smashing, Anna, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Neil said before the game it was going to be, well, I asked, would it be tough to motivate the players? They certainly seem motivated today.
Yes, no, very much so. Look, we're just trying to take each game as it comes, and we understood, like, from last week, with things we had to work on, and we got some really good results from it today.
What the particular work-ons that you were happy with? Anything in particular to take away?
Today, look, I thought we were good at varying our attack. And we tried to look and put that into place. We understood, like, where Thunder kind of came at us a wee bit last week, so we wanted to make sure we try and execute as much as we could.
In terms of the bench impact, it seemed to get a little bit scattered a little bit when the bench came on. Is that something you just expect as part of the game of rugby, or?
Well, yes and no. I suppose yes. We've had some players here today who've their first caps and came through, like, the kind of pathway stuff. So it's good for them to get the opportunity. You kind of don't want that kind of purple patch. You want to keep you inconsistent. There's been some times of games where the benches came on and made a real impact. So sometimes just a bit of luck with the green.
And in terms of the matches coming up, focus any particular area, or are you just looking to build on what you've done today?
We'll have to build. There's some elements of the game that we've seen as coaches already. We're like, we need to fix on this, a couple of things, and we just need to make sure we get back to the training on Tuesday and we go again.
Master, thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
very much.
it. Cheers. Well, Neil Alcorn and Anna Doyle both humble in victory after a massive result for the home side in the Belfield Bowl UCD. The focus now for next week, with Glasgow Warriors at home to the Clovers on the 25th and Edinburgh hosting Gwalia Lightning on the 26th. Focus will be on both Clovers sides from Connacht and from Munster to try to regain some ground. It's a huge points difference to try to recap for Clovers after a huge showing today from the Wolfhounds. Ball very much in the court of the team who were victorious today, right across the park from 1 to 23. An outstanding performance from the Wolfhounds, who've managed to take all of the spoils at the Belfield Bowl. Brython Thunder will be disappointed, no doubt, but they have managed to cross the whitewash. That's an improvement on last week. For the Wolfhounds, it's focus on round 6, which will be coming up on the 1st of February. For now, from the UCD Belfield Bowl, on behalf of Emer Corey and myself, Dan Mooney, thank you for joining us. See you next time.